Prime Minister Mark Carney wants to expand Chinese-Canadian relations because he thinks that this will help secure Canada's strategic independence from the United States. Yet, this pivot could easily undermine Canadian sovereignty because Beijing is an unreliable and dangerous partner that habitually weaponizes trade to bully smaller nations. I'm Canadian journalist Adam Zivo, and I'm going to use three examples to illustrate this point. The first is Australia. Back in the early 2020s, Australia stood up to China by passing foreign interference laws and banning Huawei from its 5G infrastructure, among other things. So Beijing retaliated with a trade war that devastated certain Australian industries. Its effectiveness relied on the fact that China is Australia's largest trading partner, accounting for around a third of all Australian imports and exports. While the Australians ultimately upheld their laws, their political elites adopted a more submissive attitude towards Beijing from 2023 onwards, out of fear of further economic reprisals. The second example is Lithuania. After the Lithuanians deepened ties with Taiwan in 2021, Beijing shut down bilateral trade and even pressed multinational firms to stop using Lithuanian parts for China-bound products. The Lithuanians just shrugged this off, though, because thankfully China accounted for only 1% of their foreign trade. And then there's Japan. Last autumn, Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi explicitly acknowledged that her country would militarily defend Taiwan from any future Chinese invasion. Beijing subsequently freaked out and tried to punish the Japanese by de facto boycotting their tourism industry, banning the import of Japanese seafood, and restricting the export of rare earth metals to Japan. This caused some significant declines in the Japanese stock exchange, given that China accounts for around 20% of Japan's foreign trade, although Takaichi ultimately stood by her statements. All three of these examples illustrate how Beijing is very willing to weaponize its economic power to punish junior trading partners who step out of line, even for relatively minor offenses. At the moment, China accounts for only 8% of Canada's foreign trade, so we're not as exposed as Australia and Japan. But Carney's vision is to increase Sino-Canadian trade by 50% over the next few years, so that could easily change. Look, I understand that the Trump administration is erratic and domineering, but pivoting to China would mean substituting one bully for another. And while it's very possible that Trump will be democratically replaced in a few years, the regime in Beijing will not change anytime soon and will remain an enduring threat to Canadian interests. Thanks for watching. I'm Adam Zivo. Subscribe to my channels for more analysis and check out the National Post to read more of my work.